The gatekeeper, understanding the safety check. Every high value woman has a built in defense mechanism, a psychological firewall she activates before she ever lets a man into her most intimate space. You need to understand that for a woman of substance, intimacy isn't just a physical act, it's a massive leap of trust. It doesn't matter if you took her to the most expensive restaurant in the city or if you spent hours in the kitchen preparing a five-star meal. Those things are just surface level gestures. The real entry fee to her world is passing the safety check. This is the invisible barrier that separates the boys who are just looking for a quick win from the men who are actually capable of handling a woman of her caliber. If you don't recognize when this check is happening, you will find yourself constantly hitting a brick wall right when you think you've finally crossed the finish line. The safety check is designed to filter out the pretenders. A woman who respects herself is looking for more than just charm or good looks. She is looking for a sense of security that can only be found in a man's character. She needs to know that you are a safe harbor, not a storm. When she pauses or creates a moment of friction, she isn't trying to be difficult or play games. She is literally checking your internal wiring. She is looking to see if your gentleman persona is a mask that slips off the second you don't get your way, or if it's actually who you are at your core. Understanding this mechanism is the difference between building a genuine, lasting connection and being just another guy she regrets meeting. The midnight reversal. We have all been in this exact scenario. You met a woman who was absolutely stunning. The chemistry between you two is electric, and the conversation has been effortless all night. The vibe is so perfect that it feels like a movie script. You eventually transition back to your place, the music is low, the lighting is right, and things are naturally moving toward the bedroom. But then, right in the heat of the moment, maybe while you're in the middle of a deep kiss, everything shifts. She suddenly pulls away. She says, "Wait, I can't do this," or "No, I think I should go home." This is the midnight reversal, and it is the most critical fork in the road for any man. Most men completely panic in this moment because they misinterpret the no as a personal rejection or a waste of their resources. They start doing dating math in their heads, counting the money spent on the date, the hours spent talking, and the effort put into the evening. They feel cheated, as if a contract has been broken. This internal panic quickly turns into visible frustration, awkward silence, or even cold anger. You might find yourself asking, "What did I do wrong?" Or "Why did she lead me on?" But here is the truth. You didn't necessarily do anything wrong up until that point. However, your very next move, your immediate reaction to her setting that boundary, is the only thing that determines whether you have a future with her or if she blocks your number before she even gets into her Uber. The vampire versus the leader. A woman with a high sense of self worth uses that sudden no as a diagnostic tool to see exactly what you are made of. She is intentionally testing your emotional stability under pressure. This is where men divide into two categories: the vampire or the leader. The vampire is the man who is only there to take. The moment he hears no, he turns hostile or passive aggressive. He feels entitled to her body because he invested in the night. He might say things like, "Then why did you even come over?" Or "I spent all this money for nothing." This reaction is a massive red flag because it proves he is selfish, emotionally unstable, and potentially dangerous. To her, this behavior screams that he doesn't value her as a human being. He only values what he can get from her. The leader, however, responds with what we call the percentage of steel. When she pulls away, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't get angry, he doesn't pout, and he doesn't try to negotiate her out of her decision. He remains a composed, responsible man who can handle the word no without losing his cool. By staying calm and respectful, he shows her that his ego isn't tied to a sexual conquest. He demonstrates that he has the emotional maturity to lead the situation back to a place of comfort. When you show her that you are the man who can be told no and still treat her with total respect and kindness, you pass the test. You prove that you are a man of integrity. And ironically, that is exactly what makes her feel safe enough to eventually say yes. Passing the test, when a woman hits the brakes, she isn't just stopping the physical momentum, she is throwing a spotlight on your true character. In that high stakes moment, she is looking for one thing above all else: emotional and mental stability. She needs to see that you are a man who is in total control of his impulses, not a man who is controlled by them. If you react with even a hint of anger, entitlement, or pushiness, you have instantly failed the safety check. To her, a man who cannot handle a no is a man who is unpredictable and potentially dangerous. The second you start to argue, pout, or try to guilt her into changing her mind, she stops seeing you as a romantic interest and begins to categorize you as a threat. You've shown her that your ego is fragile and that your respect for her is conditional on getting what you want. Once that seed of doubt is planted, the vibe is dead and there is almost no coming back from it. Passing the test requires you to do the one thing most men fail to do: stay absolutely calm. You must bring your temper to zero and maintain your composure as if nothing has changed. You show her that you respect her boundaries without making it weird or creating an atmosphere of heavy tension. If she says she wants to stop, you say, "I completely understand," and you move on to something else. Offer her a glass of water, change the music, or go back to the conversation you were having before things heated up. By doing this, you prove that you aren't just there for the conquest. You demonstrate that you are a man of character who values her presence and her comfort more than a single night of intimacy. This level of self assurance is incredibly rare and highly attractive. It tells her that you are a high value man who doesn't need to hunt for validation because you are already secure in who you are. The ultimate reward: you must internalize the fact that there is no rule stating you must sleep with a woman on the first date, or even just because she decided to come over to your house. In fact, the most successful men understand that intimacy is not a transaction, it's a byproduct of trust. When you show her that you are mentally stable and that you value the connection you're building more than the physical act itself, something incredible happens. Her guard drops completely. For the first time in the evening, she feels she can truly exhale. She no longer feels the need to be on high alert or to protect herself from your potential reaction. By being the man who doesn't push, you become the man she can finally trust. The ultimate reward for your patience is far greater than a rushed encounter born out of pressure. Once she has definitive proof that you are a protector and not a predator, she will begin to open up to you in ways she never would have otherwise. She will give herself to you on a platter of gold, not because she feels she has to, but because she truly wants to. By respecting the no today, you aren't losing out. You are actually making an investment that ensures a much more passionate, enthusiastic, and meaningful yes tomorrow. When a woman feels completely safe with a man, her desire for him triples. Don't ruin a potentially great relationship by being impatient or short sighted. Be the man who is worth the wait, and you will find that the rewards are always worth the discipline.